this is more than a book. It's more than a project. It is a ministry.
Hmm.
It's also, a side hustle while my
Yes.
kids are napping. But I really believe that this book, that this series, the second one comes out in March, is
So
going
excited.
to have a huge impact in the lives of this generation of girls that read its message. And I don't know, there's something about that that just is bigger than the numbers or the time that you have to put into it.
I am here with my friend Erin, and I'm so excited to have her with us because I know Erin. We've been friends for a little bit now. We're both in Hope Writers, and just recently we were at the same conference, and she and I got to talk a little bit more about her writing journey. And I was just blown away with the wealth of information she had to share, her generosity in sharing it, and just the insight she had. And so I knew I wanted to bring her on the podcast and have her talk about her writing journey, especially from the lens of being both a nonfiction writer and a fiction writer. So thank you so much for joining us, Erin.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me, Rachel. This is going to be fun.
So let's dive into this conversation about being like a nonfiction writer and a fiction writer and navigating those worlds. Did you intend to do one or the other or always both? Did you just decide like, okay, I'm going to write this nonfiction book. Oh, wait, I also have this fiction idea. Like, how did that all come about?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because I was just telling a friend of mine the other day that I just discovered that I have a lane because I'm published in so many different genres that all this time I've kind of been thinking like, well, I just don't have one. But I
Mm.
realized, no, I do have one, and it is applying God's word to everyday life in a way that is clear, creative, and captivating. And I
Ooh.
do that through fiction, nonfiction, board games, whatever
Oh
comes
yeah, I
up.
didn't even mention that. Like you
Yeah.
have a board game you created,
I
which
know.
we may dive into that a little bit later on just because it's so unique and that's a form of
Sounds
storytelling
good.
too.
Absolutely. Yes. And so the first book I wrote was a fiction book, and it started out as just a fun project. I wrote it for my brother, who is like one of my best friends, and all of his friends. They were into like filming things and editing.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll write you a little script and y'all can have fun with it. Well, the script quickly turned into a full length novel. And then I was like, okay, I've got this book. What do I do with it? So I pitched it, and that one was traditionally published. That was in 2011. I'm dating
Wow.
myself here. Yeah.
2011, huh?
Yes. Yeah. And then
Okay.
I did a lot of writing that wasn't really connected to publishing in any way. I wrote several musicals for the church that I worked for,
Mm.
a lot of magazine articles. I just did a lot of writing and working for a church and then a nonprofit. And then whenever I stayed home to raise my babies, I have three girls, and became a stay-at-home mom, it was like the words began piling up. And
Mm. Yep.
that's when I wrote my devotional, and that's when I also wrote about a novel about miscarriage and infertility. And so it was kind of whatever message God had placed on my heart in that season. That's the one that came out.
Mm.
And it wasn't really planned other than just what message is keeping me up in the middle of the night and I can't move forward until the words are on the paper.
Yeah,
Um,
that
and
makes
then
sense.
once it became something big enough and quality enough to share with others, then, it went out into the world. So, yeah. And the board game was a total fluke. It started out as a book idea,
Okay.
and it was the gospel message. I wanted to show how the gospel story really starts in the Old Testament and goes all the way through the New Testament.
Mm.
And of course, there's lots of creative ways to present that in a book,
Right.
but I wanted something that was more interactive. I wanted people to discover the story on their own instead of just reading it. And then, it can kind of wash over you, but it doesn't stick the same as if you are like, you feel like you're in it, uncovering it.
Right.
So I've been wrestling with this idea, wrestling, couldn't get it right. And then, of course, I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I was like, oh my gosh, it's an escape room in
So
a
crazy.
card game version. Of course, everybody wakes up and thinks that, right? And
Right.
so I like mapped it all out. Oh my gosh, it was like the funnest project to work on. And then a publisher picked that one up. And so, yeah, that's how the board game came about. It started as a book idea and just couldn't seem to get it right. But when you have the message that you want to send, there isn't really a boundary or a box on how you can portray that message. So I really tell one story over and over again for different audiences in different ways. It's always Jesus. That's spoiler alert. It's Jesus.
I I love so much what you just said there, because I think that's a thing that fiction writers in particular can get into this they can get into this trap of thinking that what they do is about the thing they're creating. And you have seemed to take a step back, as I think we should, and say, okay, what's the story I'm telling?
Yeah.
What is the message that I'm trying to share? And what vehicle does it want to come out in right now? And I
Yeah.
think that's such a wise thing to be able to identify and say, okay, I'm not doing a bunch of different things. I'm doing the same thing and I'm just creating it differently each time. And the person that's going to appeal to is a certain kind of reader. And I think that being able to say, okay, my audience is going to look like this, and there's going to be different aspects of their life that the story is going to come out in this form, and it's going to meet that particular aspect of their life. And so I think that's really wise that you have been able to step back and say, this is what it is. And that has given you the freedom to go the route of either nonfiction or fiction or a board game.
Yeah.
But it all goes back to that storytelling, to that ability to say, this is the story that God's given me, and I'm going to share it over and over and over again. So I wanted to go back. You said that you had said that you had done a devotional, and then you had a book about miscarriage. And did you say that was a novel?
I did. I misspoke. It's not a novel.
Okay, I didn't think
It's
it
kind
was.
of a mix. No, no.
Okay.
It's kind of a mix. Once again, it's kind of outside the box. It is like part memoir, part nonfiction.
Okay.
I don't want to call it self-help because I hate that term, but it's definitely kind of a mix of nonfiction and memoir.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
it's really like storytelling mixed with a little bit of guidance
Yes.
and
So I
reflection.
include all of my journal entries that I
Mm.
had written during that season, and they are unedited.
That's
Yeah,
scary.
it was really scary, but I wanted women to know that you're not alone.
Mm.
These thoughts that you're thinking, that you're afraid to admit that you're thinking, that you think that no one else is having, they are. You're not alone.
Mhm.
Those thoughts and feelings are valid and they're
Yes.
important to identify. And then at the same time, you're not going to be there forever. That's not that's not the period. That's not the punctuation mark on this
Mhm.
journey. There's more and there's hope after that. But in order to take someone's hand and bring them along that journey, they really have to know that you were where they were. Because so many women came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I had a miscarriage.
Right.
I know how you feel." And I just kept thinking, "No, you don't. You don't know how I feel."
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
really wanted women reading the book to know I do. I
Mm.
do know where you were and what you were thinking and what you were feeling. I had all of those same thoughts. And now I don't feel the same way anymore. And
Right.
you don't have to either.
I I love that you took the time to to be vulnerable in your storytelling. And I think that just is a testament to the power of storytelling. And that at the heart of it, whether we're writing nonfiction or fiction, that storytelling element has to be there to be
Yes.
powerfully moving. Otherwise, you're just writing an essay, or you're writing. I was my first job out of college was on a scientific journal on dentistry. So like there is no storytelling. I mean, there were stories in there of people, but it's very particular in the way that they present the imagery and the way that they tell the facts and everything. It's very factual. And there's no storytelling. It killed me to work on that every single day of my life. I was like, I would go home and I would write stories because I had just been like in the scientific world for so long during the day. But my point with that is that if we're creating nonfiction that moves somebody, or we're creating a novel that moves somebody, we have to be able to tell stories in a way that lets the reader know that you hear them and see them, and you put them into an experience where they can say, oh, I relate to that. And whether or
Yeah.
not we're doing that in nonfiction, where maybe we're being a little bit more this happened in real life, we're sharing our personal stories or the stories of others, or whether we're creating a world for somebody to engage with. Either way, we're still letting that reader be seen and experience those emotions, those thoughts, those feelings. And so I love the fact that you're like, I'm going to be vulnerable in this and I'm going to pull that back because I need my reader to know that. I need to know them to know that it's okay to experience these things. It's okay to feel those things. I think that's so lovely and so beautiful.
And now with AI,
Oh,
have you seen the things that AI can write? But
yes,
the piece
it's
that's
a little
missing,
scary.
it's a little scary, but when you read it, it's definitely missing that human
Mm,
aspect. You know, when we bring our story into it,
yes,
it brings something different that hits different when a human reads it from
so
another
true.
human. And
So
so
true.
any of us can write a blog post
Mm,
that, was written by AI or whatever,
true.
but we need to keep bringing meaningful messages that come from our stories because that is something that AI will never bring to the table and will never connect with readers in the same way.
Yes. And I think we have to remember that we were I like to say we were created within the context of story
Yes.
because the word was spoken and the
Yes.
world came into being. And I truly think that there is, I mean, Jesus spoke in parables. He told stories.
Yep.
He relate, so I do believe that there is like a powerful undercurrent to story. And I think you're right. It's about that human, it's like a connection to the humanness in us, the spiritual in us. There's just a level of connectivity that you can't replicate with AI. At least
Yeah.
they haven't figured it out yet, and praying they don't.
And
That's
not only did God create with words, but it says that Jesus was the Word, and the Word
yes,
was with God, and the Word was God. I mean, we, the reason stories resonate within us is because we were created looking for one story.
right.
And when something else sort of replicates a small piece of that, then we feel it. We feel
Yes,
it deeply. It resonates within
yes.
us. And so it's so exciting to be part of that process of
Mhm.
creating stories that touch people in that way and point them to Christ.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that we're made to create, we are creative beings, we steward creativity, and the fact that we get the privilege of that we get
Yeah.
to engage with him in that work and get to steward creativity in that way, that we get to tell these stories and they have an impact because they're woven into the very fabric of our DNA. It's so mind blowing, and it's a little humbling at the same time. And so
Yeah.
it can be both incredibly exciting, but also a little terrifying too, to know that you're stewarding a story that could possibly impact somebody's life. Is there do you struggle with imposter syndrome? Like, is that
Not
something that comes up?
I I don't want to say not at all, but not a ton.
Okay.
Um I don't know, it's just not really in my personality to think I can't do something.
Mm.
That sounds weird.
Do you ever worry that you're not going to be able to do the job well? Like, either one, you can't communicate the story well enough on the page, or you can't figure out how to get it to people who need to read it.
Yes, so there are stories I can tell when something is done, and I
Mm,
have a couple of books completely written and several ideas that I really wanna pursue that, I don't know if those completed books will ever see the light of day because I
yes.
know there's something not done with them yet. And maybe that's something that'll happen in the future, but for now, I'm just sitting on manuscripts. And then other ideas that I just keep playing with, keep coming back to. One, it's been almost 15 years now.
Mm,
And I hope eventually one day that does become a story that I share with the world. But until it is right, then
yes.
it won't it won't ever be anything, because you only get one chance to tell that story.
Once you hit publish is what you mean. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense. So let's shift gears a little bit here. You went the traditional route, but you only went the traditional route on that first book, right?
Right.
And the rest of your books have been self-published, and you have
Yeah.
your nonfiction, and then your fiction is actually a children's book.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that process. So, like, I know that you had this experience with a traditional publisher, and then you have the experience of self-publishing. How did it how did it vary from each one to each one? What were the challenges? What were some of the similarities? Can you speak to that a
Okay.
little bit?
Yeah. So with my first one, it's actually sad. Within the last month, maybe 2 months, I was, trying to reorder author copies and got the notification that it is out of print.
Mm,
And so that's the end.
sad.
That's the end of that book. It is
Yeah.
now just a here, I'll show it to you because
Yes, please. Let's honor
you'll
it right
never
now.
see it on a shelf again. Um, but so it's kind of that's part of the downside of the traditional publishing method is that it's not my work anymore. I can't do
Mm,
anything with it. I just have to kind of let that project die and move forward.
yeah.
Um, but it's
That is
okay
that is
too,
sad. It's like, yeah.
yeah, it's my first book, and so
Yeah.
it's a little sad. But there were other things that you don't have control over. Some of my other books I've been able to translate into Spanish, which is a heart of mine. I have a degree in Latin American studies.
Okay.
And so the miscarriage and infertility book, when I published it, I looked on Amazon to see if there were any books on miscarriage or infertility in Spanish that were written from a Christian perspective. There were only like 3 on Amazon in Spanish
Wow.
total, none of them from a Christian perspective. And
Wow.
so I was like, I have to translate this book.
Right. Yeah,
Um, just so
definitely.
you know, it's not a good entrepreneurial move, but I get messages from women in Bolivia and Spain and Mexico and Argentina
That's
just
amazing.
in Spanish, pouring their stories out to me, and thanking me for that book. And so that was a ministry piece, not a
Mhm.
sorry, I'm totally sidetracking here onto
No, no,
something
I think
else.
that's fine for us to that's no, don't feel like we're
Yeah,
sidetracking. I think it's important to mention that business aspect of it. Like, yes, this book may be profitable for you, but having to translate it and then sell it to a different market might not be profitable. And
right,
so you kind of have to make that decision. Is this product getting into the hands of these people? Are we just going to treat this one as a ministry based, like knowing that we're
right,
probably not going to make a huge profit off of it?
right.
But this one over here will, and it will kind of supplement what we're not making off of this one. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you pointed out that you had this heart's desire for this book to be in this language, but at the end of the day, it's not a moneymaker for you. And you had to make that conscious decision that it's not going to, essentially, it's not going to be making a huge money, but it was worth your investment into it. It's worth doing it for you.
Yeah,
But that means that you have to make decisions with your other products in order to continue doing that ministry aspect of it. And I think it's important because a lot of times authors have these messages they want to share with the world and they want just one reader to be impacted. And it's important, but you got to have money to do the mission, as Sean Cannell says. He's a YouTube expert and he talks about this about, like, yes, we are purpose driven entrepreneurs, but even like we have to have money for the mission. We have to be able to sustain what it is that we're trying to do. And
yeah,
so I think you're kind of acknowledging that, like, yes, it's wonderful. I have this beautiful ministry that and it's beautiful the way that my book's impacting these lives, but let's be realistic, it's not making me money. So I have to make other decisions that will make me money. And
right.
so you decided to self-publish that book. And I think that it's important to note that right now, because you probably would not have had the option to translate it if it
No,
wasn't self-published.
right. Yes. One of
Yeah.
the other things that I run into a lot too with the traditional publishing is that they have certain boxes that things should fit in.
Yes.
And my miscarriage book is like part memoir, part nonfiction, and they really want it to be one or the other.
Right.
But I really thought that the blend was something that I would have wanted
Mm,
when going through that season. And so knowing that market, knowing what that reader needs, I was able to create that on my own that didn't fit the boxes that you
right.
traditionally would fit into.
Right. For those listening, like the reasons that they want things in boxes is because it makes it easier to market. And so they're really not, it's very hard for a traditional publisher to market a memoir if you're not known, because people, it's really hard to have people buy into somebody's story that really they have no clue about. Like, why should I care about this random person? Right. And so it's really hard for traditional publishers to market a memoir. So they want it to be more either this is a memoir and you have a following that cares about your life story, or it's nonfiction where somebody is like, oh, this is going to help me. It doesn't really matter who it is that's writing it. Not like they care who's writing it, but they can kind of say like, oh, here's the reasons why you should listen to this person. And they can list out like three, what's that called? Like qualifiers or whatnot, and they
Right.
can say like, these are the qualifications of this author to write this self-help book. That's why you should pay attention. And that's a really easy thing to market. But when you're tying it all together and it doesn't fit into that mold, it doesn't fit into that marketing mold, it becomes very difficult on the traditional publisher's part to figure out how to get that into the hands of a reader. And so it takes in on a higher risk for them. And so it's not that they don't want unique projects, it's just that they don't know how to make money off of them per se, or
Yeah.
rather it's harder for them to make money. And so it's a bigger risk that they're taking on you.
I kind of ran into that as well with my new children's book that came out. Once again, my daughters are 2, 4, and 6. So my
Hmm.
older two, they are getting past picture books. They're ready for chapter books,
Right.
but chapter books have one black and white illustration per chapter, and they
Yes.
really wanted more pictures. So
Right.
there's like this gap between picture books and chapter books that isn't really being addressed. And
Mhm.
that's why I was like, okay, I know exactly what I want to create. I want to create an early chapter book. It's like 9,000 words. So
Mhm.
similar to Magic Treehouse Boxcar Children, but
Right.
it has full color illustrations on every page spread. So there's always something engaging for them to
Right.
look at. And this doesn't really exist in the industry at all. If I wanted to
And
traditionally
let's
publish, there's no way they would put the budget into
I
those
was just gonna say,
illustrations.
because that's
Yeah.
expensive. That's
It's very
expensive.
expensive.
And
Yes,
they're
because it's a
gonna
70-page book. So you're talking
yes,
about 70, well, 35 illustrations.
yes,
Yeah, for a chapter book, which the price needs to be pretty low. People
right,
pay more for picture books than they do for chapter books. So
yes,
once again, I'm kind of walking this line,
yes.
blurring the boxes, but it has been so well received. And that project, let's see, it published in August. So it's been out 4 months and it's already in the black, which is like
That's amazing.
blown me away.
Yes,
After, putting all of that money into the illustrations up front, because that's the only way to do it when you self-publish.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. Let's dive into that conversation about you took the risk on it.
Mhm.
And I want to point out, like, you have followed your gut on both of these projects.
Yeah.
Both of them, you said, I know this is what the reader is going to want, and I'm going to make it happen because it's like, who your reader is and you're willing to create products for them. And
Yeah.
that's what I think is really important for fiction writers to understand. They have to understand who it is that they're creating for and have that instinct about what it is that they want from you. Because if you're
Yeah.
not creating products that they want, they're not going to buy from you. So, how did you switch from, okay, I follow the tradition route. Yeah, this time around, I think I'm not going to go the tradition route. So I'm going to do self-publishing. You kind of had to take on an entrepreneurial hat with that whole situation for both your nonfiction book and with this one. Was that an easy transition or was that something that came along with a learning curve?
It was and it wasn't. So I like the entrepreneurial side of things. I like
Hmm.
selling. I'm not scared to walk into a store and pitch my book cold to the lady behind the counter, or
That's
whatever.
impressive. I
I,
am.
I do it all the time. I'm not afraid to do it. And I like thinking of creative, kind of out of the box ways of promoting the book as well.
Mm,
What I am not good at and just drains me incredibly is the social media part of things.
yes.
You ask me to get followers, and I just want to crawl under the covers and never come out.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
whole trying to build a platform and grow an audience and all that, I want to serve the audience, but growing them is just, oh goodness. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like that part
Yeah.
at
Tell
all.
us more. Tell us more. Do you really not like it?
Really don't.
Really
Um,
don't. Is
really,
there
really
anything
don't.
that you have found that you are like, oh, okay, I'm okay with this side of the whole social media marketing? Or is it like just across the board? You're like, if I never have to do it ever again, I will be happy.
I would be happy never doing it again. I have recently discovered, like if you go into Facebook groups, so like I'm in a children's book review group where people like parents will post reviews of books. Um, Groups like that that kind of go along with your niche or your genre where
Hmm.
your readers will hang out,
Yes.
then I wait until they ask a question and then I can answer it with my book. So they'll say, I'm looking for a book for my 6-year-old that,
Hmm.
doesn't have any kind of language in it or what, whatever the
Right.
case may be. Or they're just starting chapter books. What do you recommend? And so I can say, oh, my girls love, I have no shame. My girls love The Enchanted Garden. They do. I'm not lying. Um, I did write
Side
it.
note, I wrote it.
Yeah. A few times people have like commented under like, "Oh, who is it by?" And I'm like, "It's me." Whoops. It's fine. But I feel like if I'm answering a question, I am serving my reader. I'm not self-promoting. And
Correct.
so I do feel more comfortable in those kinds of areas of social media. I also really love my email list. Go figure.
Yeah.
I can't stand social media, but I love my email list. They're my favorite people.
Which is
And
funny because
so
most people it's the opposite. They're like, I don't know what to do with the emails.
I know it's when I put something into social media, it's like this is a void. I don't know who's seeing it. I don't know if they care. But with my email list, like these are my people. I know who you are. I
Yeah.
know your names. You reply back to me. Like we've built a relationship.
I
And
have
I
to
send
say, like,
weekly devotions. So they
okay.
really are my people
Yeah.
because they read.
They read. So what's
They
your
read
open
every
rate?
week.
Do you know
Yeah.
what your open rate is?
It's like 50%.
That's awesome. Way to
Yeah.
go.
I go
That's
through and
really,
take people out though if they're not
yeah.
like if you're not reading, then I don't want to bother you. So you can go and
And
these
I
are my
don't want to pay
people.
for you either. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly right.
Let's be honest.
See ya.
Because you do have to, for somebody who might be unfamiliar with it, when you have an email list through like Mailer Light, wow,
Hmm.
tongue tied there for a second, or MailChimp or Active Campaign or any of those, when you hit a certain subscriber number, they up your price in what they're charging you each month. And so that one unengaged reader can be the difference between one price point and another. And so
Yeah.
keeping that email list to that they're not taking up space. People who aren't engaged with you don't take up
Yeah.
space is important. So have you noticed was there a difference for you in promoting your nonfiction book and promoting the fiction book? Was that experience different?
Not a ton. Okay, so yes, it was different, but I don't think it was because it was moving from nonfiction to fiction. I think it
Okay.
was more different because it was moving from 2020, pre-2020 to
Oh,
post
yeah.
2020. And the world is just a different place. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
use a launch team with this one, which I had on previous projects. And the project right before this that did launch in 2020, at the end of 2020, I had used a launch team and it was just like the saddest, most pathetic thing. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing
What
this
was that
again.
for?
It was for Mary's Treasure. It was an Advent
Okay.
devotional.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, out of the box, instead of, I can show you what it looks like, but instead of a book, it's cards like, oh, the
Okay.
glare. They're individual cards with artwork and poetry that sit on a stand and you flip one each day. So once again, something that you're not going to find by a traditional publisher. Um, but
You do know
yeah,
that that should be part of your marketing, right?
so what the publishers won't publish, I
Well,
will.
I was talking about more like the out of box, like that you provide out of box storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah,
got to
it
be
is
in there
different.
somewhere.
It's
It's
very
different.
different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Just food for thought.
sounds good. I'll have to add that in my that's
Somewhere.
the creative and the captivating because it's
Oh, there
something
you go. That's
different. People
true.
wanna see something
Yeah.
different.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
and
love
you
it.
can only learn through certain ways so many times.
Mm-hmm.
They say it takes 7 times of hearing something, but I think it maybe takes 7 different ways of hearing something, not just 7 times of the same thing.
I like that.
So,
I think that's true. I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you approach the fiction the same way that you did your nonfiction when you went to launch it? In the nonfiction market, people tend to do this in a more traditional online marketing. Like, here's the offer. I'm like, may have a different offer that's a little bit lower price, and then I have this offer, and I'm following up and I'm putting you in a nurturing sequence. And there's like a launch team, and there's just more of like these core online marketing principles that they're following when they're doing nonfiction. But then you get these fiction writers who are using all these like very platform specific techniques. And so what I'm asking you is, did you kind of approach it the same way for both at the core, or did you feel like you had to switch because it was fiction?
I think I approached it the same way, but I also think that the way that I've approached all of my marketing has been non-traditional. So
Okay. So tell
I
us more.
probably don't
Tell us
fit
more.
the mold.
You
Okay,
just across
so
the board, you're not fitting the mold, huh?
I just do my thing. So some of the marketing things that I did with the Enchanted Garden was it was my first one with merch. So I've got like these little necklaces.
Which I
They're
would
gold
love
feather
so
gardener
much.
necklaces. And that's the name of the series, the Gold Feather Gardeners. And when the two characters join the Enchanted Garden, which is the, allegorical equivalent of becoming Christians, at the end of the book, they each get a necklace with a gold feather on it. And so it has a huge symbolic meaning in the book. And so when little girls order the book and then they get the necklace, it's like this huge
Yeah.
deal. And I have already had parents send me pictures, like their kids' school pictures where they're wearing the necklaces.
Oh, so
It's the
sweet.
sweetest thing. And here's something for fiction that I didn't do with nonfiction was Clara the Garden Fairy has become like this whole entity of her own. She's got a P.O. box. She gets fan mail and
Oh my
pictures that
gosh.
kids have drawn, and she writes letters back. She's very busy, this garden fairy. Um, and that's not something you can do with nonfiction.
No.
I mean, you can answer your own fan mail, I guess, but
Yes.
I
It's
also
so
haven't gotten a ton.
it's not as fun though.
No, it's definitely not as fun. This has been a blast, kind of creating her into her own um,
Yeah.
character. Another thing I've done differently has been, they always say capture email addresses. I've been trying to capture physical home addresses. We're going way old school with Clara the Garden Fairy. She's going to send birthday mail and she's going to send
Oh my
postcards
gosh.
whenever the new books are coming out, because
Kids
how
like to
many
get
little
mail.
girls have gotten mail? Like even
Okay, so
when
this is
I
just
was a
brilliant.
kid.
This is brilliant because
Yeah.
we all okay, especially if children's marketing children's book is hard because you have two
Yeah.
audiences, right? Like you
Yes.
have the kid who needs to love the story, but
Yeah.
then you have the parent who needs
Who
to
has
buy
to
the
buy
book,
it?
right? And so you have these two audiences, and essentially what you're doing is you are hitting both at the same time
Yeah.
because you are sending a postcard, which little kids love getting mail, right?
Yes.
But then the parent is seeing the excitement on the child's face, and that's going to entice them to buy the product for them,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like a brilliant piece of marketing right there.
Well, and the necklaces, like they are so inexpensive, cost wise. Now I do hand make them all. So there's that piece. In the
You
last
need to
4 months, I
you need
think
to
I've
figure
made
out how to
almost 400 necklaces. So
oh
yeah,
my
that
gosh,
I
that's like
probably need to outsource that a little bit,
yes,
but
you do.
uh,
But that's like the next level, right? I think that thing of entrepreneurship is that you get into this like you kind of have to start by yourself a little bit, like you just getting into your rhythm, like especially as creatives, right? When we are these
yeah,
writers, when there's storytellers, and we're like, okay, I have this instinctive know knowing, this instinctive knowing that this thing is gonna work, but
yeah,
I've got to figure out how to do it. And so you kind of have to like dig deep into the creativity within you and pull it all out and make sense of all of it. And then you can replicate it. And then you can have somebody else replicate it. But it's like this
yeah,
process that you have to kind of go through. And it's a little exhausting in the meantime, like as you're having to
yeah.
do all this by yourself.
Well, and it's fun too for me, and I know, like, I won't be able to keep this up forever, but at least at this point in the project, like I said, my 2 older girls are 4 and 6, and I know
Right.
how over the moon excited they would be to get a handwritten letter from a character in one of their
Yeah.
books. So, Did I handwrite 200 letters to the first 200 books that were bought? Yes, I did. With those
Are they typed up now?
handmade necklaces, they are now typed. Yep, just switched over. And when I tell you, when I put that typed note in the envelope, it like a little part of me dies. I'm like, okay, once I get through this printed stack, I might go back to the handwritten
Aw.
because there's just something
Yeah.
special there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just
Mm.
something different. Like you can really reach someone in a way that maybe no other book will ever in their lives.
I think the key takeaway from here is that you are doing something that's very authentic to you, very authentic to your heart. You figured that out a way to do that and you're just trying it out. You're just trying to go for it and saying like, all right, this feels right to me, feels
Yeah.
right for my reader, and
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a go. And then I might have to adjust a little bit, but I'm still going to try.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just special because I get their names, and I can pray over each one as I send that out. And this is more than a book. It's more than a project. It is a ministry.
Hmm.
It's also, a side hustle while my
Yes.
kids are napping, but it's, I really believe that this series, the second one comes out in March, is
So
going
excited.
to have a huge impact in the lives of this generation of girls that read its message. And I don't know, there's something about that just is bigger than the numbers or the time that you have to put into it.
Right. Right. Oh, that's lovely. So, what tools have you figured out along the way that have like really helped you out as an online entrepreneur, as a writer, as marketing, all the things? What's helped you out?
Yes. Okay. So number one, hope writers. I know you've mentioned that, but
Yeah.
just having a group of writers, of Christian writers who
Hmm.
are in the space, who can answer your questions, encourage you, who know how you feel, who have great advice,
Hmm.
and just that community is
Mm.
absolutely irreplaceable. It has been an incredible blessing to be a part of Hope Writers. Um, let's see, Pro Writing Aid,
Okay.
if you for editing.
Okay. Editing tool. All right. I'm
Yeah,
like, I haven't heard of
editing.
that one yet.
You haven't heard of Pro Writing Aid? Okay. So it's they have like a annual subscription and a lifetime subscription. Wait for their Black Friday deal. They put it like half price or something crazy. But um I use that for the copy editing or not
Oh, is
the
that like you put it through and it like runs a filter on everything so that
yes,
it's sharp?
runs a filter on
Okay.
everything and you
I
can
have
even
heard of it. I just
select
didn't
your
know that's what.
genre and your,
Right.
all of that. So it changes the filters based on what type of writing you're doing.
Okay.
Um and then
So you don't hire, well,
um
I mean, you have a shorter book, but you don't
yeah.
hire an editor.
So I will for book 3. Book 2 is done. It comes out in
Okay.
March. Book 3, I am going to hire a developmental editor for that one. Um, just because this is my first series to write
Yeah.
and things are getting a little complicated and hairy. And I want to make sure that the themes are cohesive and everything is pacing right.
That
Because I
makes
have to
sense.
pace things out over 8 books and make sure that I'm not, getting ahead of myself or moving
Yeah.
too slow. So
Makes
I
sense.
will use a developmental editor that I met in Hope Writers on book 3.
Okay.
But for
All
all
right.
the other edits, I do them myself.
Okay. So
Yeah.
pro writing tools, is that or pro
Pro
writing
Writing Aid.
aid.
Pro Writing Aid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other tools that you found are helpful?
So I do all my own formatting as well, which gets complicated with a picture book. So
I
it's
was
more
gonna
than
say,
just,
yeah.
your Word document or anything. But I
Right.
use Affinity Publisher with an A, Affinity Publisher.
Okay.
And I had tried InDesign, I tried Microsoft Word. If you're formatting your own book, I cannot say enough good things about Affinity Publisher.
Yeah.
And it's really inexpensive. I got it on a sale too, but I think it was like $30 or $40, which
Oh,
is,
okay. Like
yeah,
that's like nothing.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was very much worth every penny. And I love it. I love formatting with that. It's super easy. And then Canva. Everybody knows Canva. Who can live
You know,
without
it's
it?
surprising there's still people who don't know about Canva, and I'm like, it's
Oh,
like the best
okay.
thing ever. How do you not know
Yes.
about this?
Yeah. Canva's great.
Canva, yeah.
Yeah. And then other than that, I would say local writing friends. Like I have some writing friends around in my city that are just nice to check in with every now and then and kind of encourage one another.
That's awesome. I agree. I think having strong writing community around you is really essential. It's really important. As we begin to wrap up our conversation, and thank you so much. I just love your heart for your reader and the work that you're doing. But as we start to wrap up, is there any advice you would give to that author who is trying to navigate this whole world of writing and business and online marketing and all the things? Is there any advice you would give to that person?
Yes. Okay. So of course, my advice would be think outside the box comes to marketing your book. I think so often we want our book in a bookstore, we want it
Yeah.
on the shelf of Barnes and Noble. But let's say you get one copy on the shelf of Barnes and Noble, then your one book is amongst thousands of books. So think outside the box. Where are your readers hanging out that they would want to read by this book?
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it a book about teeth? Then you might want to go to a dentistry conference or
Right.
something, and set up a
Yeah.
booth there. And this is not a place where you would think to put your book, but I'm telling you, you would sell a ton of books there,
Mm-hmm.
because every dentist wants your book in their dentist office. Um,
Exactly.
a place like, okay, a few of the out of the box places that I have taken my book would be like girls' boutiques.
Like hair
And
salons?
no, like clothing
Oh,
boutiques. So
oh
where you
yeah.
get
Oh
like cute
yeah.
little
That would make
girls'
sense.
clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also want to get like a gift. And the fact that
Right.
the book comes with the necklace, then it's
Yep.
like a whole thing. And it has sold really well at those. And
That's
my
amazing.
book
That's
is
amazing idea.
the only book in the store.
Right.
So if you have a girl who likes to read, there's only one to pick from. Here's your
Yes.
book.
So smart.
So think outside the box of where you can put it. Is there a book club? What kind of groups? For my miscarriage and infertility, I looked up every single infertility and miscarriage group that met through churches in the United States and like emailed every single one of them to let them know about my book and mailed them a free copy so they could share it
Awesome.
with their group members. So find like where are your people? They're probably
Yep.
not at Barnes and Noble. I
So
have
smart.
just a few examples. A friend of mine wrote a book called Once Upon an Alligator. Okay, I'm from Louisiana. Y'all are
I
about to
love
hear
that.
you're about to hear some Louisiana stuff. But the number one place that she sells her books is in the gift shop of swamp tour businesses. That's a thing we have
Oh,
here.
yes.
You like get on a
Okay.
boat, you do the swamp tour, and they find the alligators and show them to you like in the
Yes.
wild. Well, they've got the gift store. You go take the boat tour. You want to buy a book about alligators for your kid. There's her book. That's her
I
number one
think
place
I
where she
have
sells books.
I think we were in Louisiana last year, and I think I saw that book in a gift shop in a
You
gift store.
probably did. You
I did.
probably
I think
did.
as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, I think I can even imagine the cover. That's so
Yes.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so smart.
Another place that really surprised me that my books have been selling well are botanical gardens gift shops because it's called the
Wow,
Enchanted Garden.
you really have thought creatively about where you could where those hubs and spokes are. Like, that idea of
Yeah.
like, let me find the hub that can connect me to the spokes of,
Yes.
or the gatekeepers, like, let me find somebody that gives me access to more people. That's
Exactly.
really smart.
So
So cool.
think outside the box. That would be my
Yeah.
my one thing. Is there a market? Is there a festival? Is there an in-person conference? Is there a book club? Or a
Yeah.
book fair? Like I haven't gotten into any yet, but I've pitched my book to a few Christian book fair companies. So think like Scholastic, but they're for Christian schools because they don't want all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect market for my book. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll hear back from them eventually, but I'll keep bothering them until I do.
So when I get ready to like think through how I'm gonna because I'm releasing a book next year, a novel, and when I get to that point, I'm gonna call you up and be like, okay, Erin, help me brainstorm. Where can I put this
Yes.
thing? Because I
And
think
it's
that's
just
really.
like honestly hours of middle of the night Googling, you know.
Did you
So-
come up like did you come up with these ideas, or did you have people like suggest things to you too?
No, most of it was middle of the night Googling of
Oh,
just
that's awesome.
like you
I
wake
love
up
it.
and like,
I love
oh,
it so much.
what
Yeah.
about this? Let me Google, is this a thing? Are there fill in the blank.
So awesome.
Um,
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love my business coach, Jennifer All. She prays that God like download in your dreams the wisdom that he has for you. And it kind of sounds like that's what he's doing for you. You kind of wake up and you're like, wait, I need to Google this. How does this go?
yeah.
Yeah.
What about this?
Yeah.
Does that exist? Oh, it does. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'll
love it so
contact
much.
them.
You know,
And
I
then
love the
don't be
most.
afraid to
Yeah.
ask. Like the worst they can say is no, and that's
That I want to
fine.
emphasize the fact that you're willing to just go with it. Like you're like, here's an idea. Let me just try it. And I
Yeah.
think that you have to do that as an entrepreneur. You have to be like, okay, here's a unique idea. Nobody else is doing it, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad that it's a bad idea. It could be like the best thing for me and my readers.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, I am so thankful that you agreed to come on here and share with us. There is so much good things. You've given me ideas. I'm like, I gotta go think this through. Um, so I'm excited to take that information and apply it to what I'm doing in the next year. So I want to make sure though that people know where they can go and find your book. Do you have a copy of it nearby?
Yeah.
Do
Let's
you want to
see.
hold it up? So
It's
this
so
is
pretty, you
it is so
guys.
pretty. I love it so much.
Yeah.
My daughter has read it. I gave it to my niece. I just love it so much. I read it on the airplane ride home from the conference that we both attended. I was reading it on the plane.
Aw.
So I love it so much. So that's the first book, and then the second book
Yeah.
comes out in March.
Yes, in
Okay.
March.
So
So exciting.
where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they join your email list so they know when the next book's coming out?
Yes, so GreneuxGardens.com is my website, and you can sign up for my email list. I have two different ones. So one is my weekly devotions that I send out. That's like one of my favorite things that I write regularly. And then the other is the Gold Feather Gardeners. So you can sign up for that one, and you will get all of the inside. I think in January, I'm going to send out the first chapter of book 2. So they'll get like a sneak peek, and you get, everything ahead of everybody else. So you'll know
That's
when stuff
awesome.
comes out. Mhm.
So cool. Awesome.
And
All
you
right.
get access to things like handwritten cards and made
Exactly.
necklaces and things like
Exactly. I'm all for this
that.
now. I'm like, we are totally after this call, I'm going to make sure I'm on that list. I don't think I am. So well, thank you so much, Erin, for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I think our listeners today are going to really benefit from hearing the wisdom you have to share with us. So thank you for sharing your journey.
Oh, I hope it does benefit. And
I do.
thank you for having me. This was fun.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us and listening to today's episode. Join us next week as we continue the conversation about the business of Christian fiction. Bye.